Japan will send a warship and patrolled planes to protect Japanese ships in the Middle East as the situation in the region, from which it sources nearly 90% of its crude oil imports, remains volatile, a document approved by the cabinet showed on Friday. Under the plan, a helicopter-equipped destroyer and two P-3C patrolled planes will be dispatched for information gathering aimed at ensuring safe passage for Japanese vessels through the region. Japan will proceed with a previously planned naval deployment to the Middle East despite increased risks in the region after President Donald Trump warned Iran of major retaliation if it sought revenge for the U.S. killing last week of a top general. Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, whose country has a military alliance with the U.S. and good ties with Iran, told a news conference Monday that Tokyo was deeply concerned about rising tensions. The comments were Abe's first since the attack, and came hours after Iran said it would abandon limits on uranium enrichment, leaving a landmark 2015 nuclear deal dead in all but name. Any further escalation should be avoided, Abe said in Eyes, Japan, adding that he planned to proceed with the dispatch of self-defense forces to gather information that could help protect Japanese-related shipping in the Middle East. I call on all of those involved to make all possible diplomatic efforts to calm tensions. Japan's cabinet on December 27 approved sending an SDF ship to waters around the Middle East on an intelligence-gathering mission. No date has been officially set for when the warship will arrive in the region, which accounts for almost 90% of the country's oil imports. Japanese officials have repeatedly said this will be separate from U.S.-led operations in the area, which U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo had invited Japan to join. The Japanese public is divided over the dispatch, with a survey by the Asahi newspaper conducted December 21 to 22 finding 37% of respondents in favor of the mission and 44% against. A poll conducted by the Nikkei newspaper last month found 49% of respondents in favor and 38% against. Abe has sought to maintain historically warm ties with Iran, even as its standoff worsened with the U.S., Japan's only military ally. While backing the Iran nuclear deal, Japan has complied with sanctions by halting oil imports from the country, according to government data. Iran says not bound by nukes deal in new Soleimani fallout. Trump has doubled down on threats to Iran, saying Sunday that cultural sites are among 52 targets he plans to hit if Iran retaliates for Qasem Soleimani's death. Abe in 2019 became the first sitting Japanese prime minister to visit Iran in 40 years. In December, Hassan Rouhani became the first Iranian president to visit Tokyo in 19 years, even as the U.S. sought to cut off Tehran's exports. South Korea, another Asian nation heavily reliant on oil shipments from the Middle East, stepped up its naval presence in waters off Yemen in November. The move came after Yemeni Houthi rebels released 3 ships they seized earlier that month, which included 2 vessels from South Korea and 1 from Saudi Arabia. The Iran-backed Houthis have been fighting a Saudi-led military coalition since 2015, a war that has regularly sent tensions in the Gulf soaring. South Korea was planning to hold a meeting of its National Security Council on Monday to discuss developments in the Middle East. If there are any emergencies, a special order would be issued by the Japanese defense minister to allow the forces to use weapons to protect ships in danger. Friction between Iran and the United States has increased since last year, when U.S. President Donald Trump pulled the United States out of a 2015 international nuclear deal with Iran and re-sanctions on it, crippling its economy. There were several attacks on international merchant vessels, including the Japanese-owned tanker Kikuka Courageous, in the region, which the United States blamed on Iran. Tehran denies the accusations. Japan, a U.S. ally that has maintained friendly ties with Iran, has opted to launch its own operation rather than join a U.S.-led mission to protect shipping in the region. Last week, Prime Minister Shinzo Abe briefed visiting Iranian President Hassan Rouhani on Tokyo's plan to send naval forces to the Gulf. The planned operation is said to cover high seas in the Gulf of Oman, the Northern Arabian Sea and the Gulf of Aden, but not the Strait of Hormuz, the cabinet's approved document showed. The Japanese government aims to start the operation of the patrolled planes next month, while the destroyer will likely begin activities in the region in February, a defense ministry official said. A European operation to ensure safe shipping in the Gulf will also get underway next month when a French warship starts patrolling there.